Lots of news now coming in on Ethereum, jumping into the TikTok bid. This, of course, is also going to play out into a couple other big companies you know, and that's Hedera and XRP and Ripple. All of that's going to be broken down today. My name is Paul Barrett. Welcome back into Tech Path. Let's go into it. I do want to thank our sponsor. That's Coinbase. Coinbase is a great place for you guys to get started. And with the markets as they are right now, many people are saying this might be the bottom. If it is, then here is your entry point. If you're brand new to crypto, start with Coinbase. Just go over and use our link down below. You're going to get a little bit of a reward over there, which is buy 50 and earn 50 to get started. So check it out and get rolling. Other things that are happening, I want to go to this first clip here, and this is President Trump talking about this whole TikTok situation. Take a look.
But are you open to deals with these countries if they're calling you?
Well, it depends. If somebody said that we're going to give you something that's so phenomenal, as long as they're giving us something that's good. For instance, with TikTok as an example, we have a situation with TikTok where China will probably say, we'll approve a deal, but will you do something on the tariff? And the tariffs give us great power to negotiate. Always have. I've used them very well.
Maybe Trump is setting his crosshairs on a negotiation path with the Chinese and Bytedance going forward. With all that being said, here, of course, is Catherine Wu coming in right here. She says if the TikTok deal is to be divested then and then live in a meaningful way, it must be brought on chain. ENS Domains will be pledging our support behind Project Liberty and Alexis Ohanian's bid for TikTok. So that clearly starts to line up what's happening with the Ethereum Foundation, how this might play into going forward on this bid. Now, if you look at some of the Polymarket chances out here, who will acquire, you've got Oracle still leading the way. But remember, Oracle is going to end up hosting this anyway, because that is the American tech stack that is required by Congress to be able to get this deal done, which is the biggest issue. Walmart jumped up a little bit, 14%. Amazon, but remember, Amazon also kind of got negated by President Trump saying that, you know, that's probably not going to work. There's many reasons why. Many people would look at antitrust. There's other things. But Larry Ellison, of course, the CEO of Oracle, you could stack that in there. And then you got Microsoft, and further on down, Alexis Ohanian, who is in on the deal with Frank McCourt, and along with others down there. You've got Mr. Beast in there. So you stack those up, and things start looking pretty good for Project Liberty as we get into other bidders that could be coming forward. And we'll talk about Hedera and XRP or Ripple in a second, playing into this as well. Let me go over to this clip right here. This is Kevin O'Leary.
But Bloomberg has learned that the deal that is potentially being taken most seriously by the Trump administration is a group that involves Oracle, Blackstone, and Andreessen Horowitz. Bytedance, under the terms of this potential deal, would retain control of those all-important algorithms. And that is a potential sticking point because the national security law bars China or Bytedance from controlling those algorithms.
So the interpretation of what the law says is key. Looming over that is $5,000 a day per user penalty. There is no company in the S&P 500 that could last more than 11 days without being bankrupt with that penalty. We got to work with Oracle. They got the servers right now. There's enough elements in place, enough people interested, a syndicate large enough to work this out. Whatever it takes, we'll figure it out. We just have to find out what she wants to do. And Trump knows that, and he's doing everything he can to get him to the table right now.
All of this could play into an interesting negotiation between the two countries, meaning Trump and obviously China. Andreessen Horowitz was mentioned here. Andreessen, of course, they're the largest crypto fund ever. They're launching a fund now, $4.5 billion. Don't forget, these guys have been very, very pro-crypto, blockchain. They were in the Web3 space early on. They have continued to kind of push the needle forward. And if you look at just where Project Liberty is strategically, this, of course, is Tamika Tillman, and I want to showcase something right here. I'm going to zoom in right here. He's the leading diplomat, technologist. He's obviously coming in and hails from Andreessen Horowitz, but he is overseeing Project Liberty's $500 million efforts to build a better internet and digital ecosystem. They are talking about the future of decentralized social media, and that, of course, could be led by TikTok, which would really change things up quite a bit. Trump's crypto portfolios, just don't forget that he is mostly based on the Ethereum blockchain. Don't forget Eric Trump, he put this out not too long ago. I'm always wondering, sometimes they just say things out loud, you know, and this was back in February. Granted, you'd be down on ETH right now, but if you're looking at long-term holding, which is what most of these people are doing, maybe there is something brewing in the background. China has leverage now potentially for a sweet deal, and here's why. Take a look.
I think the Chinese side will demand a big concession from Trump, because Trump has made it very clear since January that he wants to be the savior of TikTok. If I were in Beijing authorities' shoes, I will leverage that. I will say, get rid of a big chunk of the tariff that you just imposed on us. You just announced it yesterday. That could be a very difficult negotiation between the two sides and take a long time to resolve. And fundamentally, our assessment is that it's unlikely to produce favorable outcome for either side. It's likely to drag along the TikTok negotiation along with it.
Always roll out with your strongest deal in the front because you're willing to take less. That's a clarity in most negotiations. And maybe that is the model in which Trump is negotiating with the Chinese, a 35% tariff, very strong. That would be, like I said, debilitating to China because of the economy here in the United States has been such a huge market. If they offset that and get back in on this, the negotiation, I think, gets to the table and TikTok gets a deal done. And this is where it will get very interesting. Frank McCourt talks about this because this is very intriguing when you look at the Chinese trying to still maintain certain clause on TikTok. Take a look.
Deadline is rapidly approaching. Oracle was in for a while, but Amazon in the past couple of days reportedly, and now AppLovin. You can add the founder of OnlyFans, Tim Stokely, to that list. Apparently he wants in here. And Charlie Gasparino has gotten sources to tell him this, that Bytedance would receive a 19.9% stake. That is not what the law passed by Congress allows. Am I correct?
Well, that's correct. I think the 19.9% equity interest is less important than the issue of the algorithm and their continued control and access to that algorithm. There are huge fines here in this legislation that anybody who doesn't live up to the spirit and the letter of that law is exposing themselves to.
Yeah, nobody's going to be able to withstand that. Now you look at all of that happening. Now let's step over into something else, and you look at the lawfare that is happening within social media. This, of course, is the EU could now fine Elon Musk almost $1 billion over illicit content and disinformation. This is going head-to-head at some of the biggest social media companies out there, and this is why everybody needs to understand decentralized social media is the only solution. That is why this TikTok deal is so important and possibly important for Ethereum, for Polkadot, and of course, now you have to throw in a little bit of a plot twist because you have Hedera and also Ripple coming to the table. Here's a clip. Take a look.
This is the guy who created OnlyFans. His brand new platform is called Zoop.
Hold on, did I just read that right? The OnlyFans guy is trying to buy TikTok?
Zoop is where you can collect officially licensed digital trading cards and connect with your favorite celebrities and creators.
They're using Hedera Hashgraph, or HBAR, as the backbone for all of this. So, fast transactions, real scalability.
But they have just secured $15 million in backing and formalized a partnership with Ready Player Me.
All right, so 15 million, I understand, guys, that's pittance compared to what we're talking about in billions around a potential acquisition. Point being is that it's showing the potential of an opportunity of decentralized social media really happening. And I think a lot of these companies, including OnlyFans and many others that are creator-led, understand that at some point we could see more lawfare coming around the world, especially on social. And I think that is the point that they're trying to get at. Now, when you remember back when Josh Hawley was grilling the Bytedance CEO, we've played this clip a couple of times, but I want to frame this up of why the U.S. was doing this. Take a look.
According to leaked audio from more than 80 internal TikTok meetings, China-based employees of your company have repeatedly accessed non-public data of United States citizens, tracked journalists improperly gaining access to their IP addresses, user data in an attempt to identify whether they're writing negative stories about you.
TikTok is used by 170 million Americans.
I know, and every single one of those Americans are in danger from the fact that you track their keystrokes, you track their location data, and we know that all of that information can be accessed by Chinese employees. The editor-in-chief is a Communist Party secretary. Why should you not be banned in this country?
Senator, that is not accurate.
It is 100% accurate. Do you deny Americans' data has been accessed by Bytedance employees in China?
We built a project that cost us billions of dollars to stop that. And we have made a lot of progress.
And it hasn't been stopped. Even now, Bytedance workers, without going through official channels, have access to the private information of American citizens, including their birth date, their IP address, and more. That's now.
Senator, as we know, the media doesn't always get it right. What we have.
But the Chinese Communist Party does?
I'm not saying that. And I'm proud of the work that the 2,000 employees are doing to protect the data.
But it's not protected. That's the problem, Mr. Chu. It's not protected at all. And heaven knows I've got problems with everybody here. But your app, unlike any of those, is subject to the control and inspection of a foreign hostile government. Your app ought to be banned in the United States of America for the security of this country. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
That was a pretty railed speech there and grilling by, of course, Josh Hawley. And he has been, I would say, the leading proponent of getting this banned in the United States. Obviously, now the law is in. It is going to be banned. We are only going to see a transition to a new American owner with an American tech stack. That's the only way this turns out. Now, all that being said, you got to think about all the other social media platforms because control has already been an issue. We've already seen this in past elections playing into this. Here's a clip with Vitalik talking about Mark Zuckerberg. Take a look.
In the future, like that's literally gonna involve our thoughts. Like, no, I'm sorry, but like Mark Zuckerberg, you're not reading my mind, right?
But the ads are gonna be so targeted.
Amazing.
Amazing. The point being is that whether you are dealing with traditional social media today, the likelihood of impedance from a government and or other entities is real, what we're seeing with TikTok, which is why it is banned. And this is where it gets interesting because now you could even look at something like KYC. Take a look at this clip.
Identity is like a very big space and it's a very important space, right? But like I definitely don't believe in like KYCing the world, right? I mean, even if you put aside the entire argument of like, what if your government can't be trusted? Even if you put that aside, right? What happens is that a huge number of records of driver's licenses in the US got hacked. This year, data that was being wiretapped, like collected by the NSA, got hacked by, apparently by China. Great job, NSA, keeping Americans safe.
All right, let me go to a tweet here by Lens Protocol. You guys have heard us talk about them before. If you want to go back and do some research on it, search Farcaster on our channel. You'll get a full rundown on this. But the point is, this happened today. Remember, this is on ETH, Ethereum. The Ethereum Foundation, I think, has put some pressure into this to where it's like, hey, we got to show that this works, that this can work within a technology stack. And Lens Protocol is a good example of this. That's why I think we saw this move going very quickly. Here, of course, is Parity Technologies talking about Ethereum-compatible smart contracts on Polkadot. This is coming later this year. So stage 3, Q3, smart contracts will launch on Polkadot. Again, that will be another priority, I think, of making all of this come together for Frank McCourt and Project Liberty. All right, so here's a tweet on how Farcaster users are getting airdrops. And if you look further down, you'll kind of see the interaction. Let me zoom on it. That's what it could look like inside of TikTok. This is the whole point of the opportunity that is going forward here of decentralized social. Creators, also even users, will have a completely new way of owning your own data, having the opportunity to earn on your efforts in terms of content. This is a huge time in social media, and I think blockchain is going to be right at the center of it. Let me jump over to this tweet. This is MeWe. And what's interesting here is the fact that MeWe is using a promotion here, basically 200 USDC, for them to onboard. And that's the kind of thing that could happen even with TikTok under these new parameters of this new tech stack, this new technology in blockchain for decentralized social media. That could migrate a lot of people from both Meta, obviously Twitter. This could change a huge process in how the network effect could really start to grow, because many people are worried about that in terms of growth to the next phase. Just as a reminder, Avalanche is tied into MeWe. If you look at AVAX, we just did a video on this the other day. Avalanche is now up considerably when it comes to the stablecoin opportunity. And this, of course, they just leaped over Solana. And again, this is because of what we're starting to see. Avalanche is also part of this. So all the blockchains definitely playing in unison here, I think, for the next generation internet. Now, here's Tim Sweeney. He kind of hits on this right here. Let Learn how it stings. Apple and Google impose their own 30% tariffs on all app makers worldwide, including American developers, etc. And they're talking about Apple and Google should get no tariff relief unless they unblock competing app stores and payment professors. And of course, we had some statements on that. You know, they would only pass on tariff to consumers because that's how a monopoly works. So, all right, so with decentralized social media, the potential for apps inside of that is going to create a new bull run on how apps might be used. And this is a technology, in case you missed it, it was called Frames, and they've rebranded this now to mini apps. So this is already working out there on Farcaster, and this is a good example. I'll kind of scan down in here to show you some of the apps that can be done within this. And this is just the beginning of where this technology is going to be going. So imagine the death of the App Store. All the apps that you need would live possibly inside a decentralized social media platform. This is the framework in which all of that could happen. These mini apps could end up being a whole new infrastructure for mobile technology and use case for the internet in the future. A lot of opportunity here for, I think, really kind of the next internet to be built here, right? And it's going to happen on the blockchain, guys. Here's Vitalik. He's going to kind of hit on this because he's talking about how social can go to the mainstream and maybe to the next level very quickly. Take a look.
Polymarket actually has been successful in 2024, right? A huge number of just very mainstream people, they were like sharing screenshots of Polymarket just like casually on Twitter everywhere. Even that are the type that like think crypto is useless and just hate crypto and want it to disappear, even they were sharing the screenshots, right? Often I think without even realizing that there's Ethereum under the hood. That's the kind of adoption that you want things to get.
All right, so Vitalik hit it right there on the head. This is the network effect. And if you look at the growth right here, this is just Polymarket active wallets. Remember, Polymarket not even technically available here in the United States. And this is the kind of growth that it has already underway. This is network adoption. This is, you know, the idea of the Metcalfe law. And that is where we're going to start to see the acceleration of technology upon itself and compounding. Remember, Polymarket was a very big part of the American political landscape just in this last election. It will only get more popular as it goes. So I think Vitalik is right. Critical mass is available, and a blockchain and possibly decentralized social media is right here within reach. This could happen quick, guys. If you want to keep watching, because we're going to cover this and much more, become part of the Diamond Circle. It's a great place to get additional content, get in our Telegram group. We can all communicate with each other. And of course, follow me on X @PaulBaron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.